15-foot-long snake. She mentioned it was like a year after Thomas's disappearance. Or I think Vipin was the one who knew about this case. Sometime in the 90s-ish, Joe Hoskins and Jeremy go to school together. They're rivals in school, but kind of friendly, and then they both go on to go to Harvard. Somewhere between 2002 and 2005, Anne retires. It's about 15 years before the current timeline. It's probably 2005, but 20 years of service plus a couple years of this puts her start date with the police in the 70s, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And that is about all we know for pre-timeline. So then we get to the current timeline, and we start on day 0, which is a Tuesday. And Katie and her friend Daniel are hiking in Freetown Forest. They find a sheriff's badge belonging to Thomas Bradshaw, who went missing 40 years earlier. That's it for day 0.
It's very exciting.
On day 1, which is Wednesday, the police have the badge, but they haven't notified Jeremy or his mother about it being found. On day 2, which is a Thursday, this is where it's the second week of school or so, Jeremy is teaching his course Folklore and Fact and Exploration into Unusual America, where he learns that his father's badge was found the day before yesterday.
From his students.
Yeah, from his students who found out from Reddit.
Damn it, why are they always ahead of us?
Jeremy goes and picks up the badge from the police station, meets Officer Batista and Officer McDermott, who bring up Ann Becker, Thomas's former partner. Vipin and Jeremy are doing some research on UFOs for their class and their book. Vipin is immediately the best person in the world.
Absolutely. I would die for Vipin. Vipin is my favorite by far.
I have a few sections about specific characters or specific storylines at the end of the timeline, and Vipin is one of them.
He has my whole heart.
I love him, honestly. He specifically mentions that it's the same day that Jeremy found out about the badge. Jeremy goes to visit Ann Becker against his mother's wishes, and Jeremy mentions he's 45 now, so he's about 5 years when his father went missing. Anne is still looking into the disappearance of Thomas, still uses her landline and tape machine from the 70s, and is getting voicemails from Thomas Bradshaw. It's a good time. We're off to a good start.
It's great, guys. It's got this very creepy vibe.
Yeah. Day 3 is Friday. At 2 a.m., Daniel calls Katie believing he's being followed, and then he goes missing, and she stops hearing from him. Jeremy and Vipin are later in the morning, are going over research about Ann Becker, and Jeremy leaves there, goes back to Anne. She has a lot of old police files in her home, and Anne tells him more about the children of Tituba and the Gathering, gives Jeremy Thomas's reports, and suggests that they go look in the forest where the badge was found, and they find some stone carvings and send the photos to Vipin. Anne and Jeremy then go to the police station. Katie's there. Her friend Daniel's been missing for about 14 hours, and she's very upset. So it's about 4 p.m. on Friday.
It's been an exciting day.
Yeah. Vipin and Jeremy then catch up and eat dinner together. He can't decipher the symbols carved into the rock, so they're looking through the files that Anne gave Jeremy. Vipin stays late to work at the office. Jeremy heads to his car and is approached by Officer Batista, who says the rock carvings belong to the Gathering as a form of communication, and that it's still around underground, and she learned about this from her girlfriend Katie, and directs Jeremy to talk to some Wampanoag Bull and a core member of the Gathering to, decipher what they are. Day 4 also has to be Friday. It doesn't make sense, but it has to be Friday still.
It's been a long Friday. Or maybe there were 2 Fridays.
Or maybe it's early Saturday morning. Really early Saturday morning. So I'm gonna go with Saturday. It sounded like Vipin and Jeremy had class, but it's Saturday, so I doubt that. Anne and Jeremy haven't talked since they left the police station. Jeremy thinks that Anne's crazy and his dad's disappearance is unsolvable. They get into a bit of a fight. Vipin and Jeremy. Anne is listening to the tapes again, and she gets a voicemail from Thomas that she received on this day 4, this Saturday.
He sounds very echoey and tinny.
Ethan, Anne's grandson, comes to visit. We learn her granddaughter Olivia is a senior in college, and that Ethan is 12. They go for a hike. Another message left on Anne's answering machine that something's opening again. And then on day 5, which is Saturday or Sunday, the uncertain day was Saturday. Day 5 was Sunday that Ethan was over.
Awesome.
Excellent.
We got this.
Anne was listening to Thomas's messages on her answering machine. Ethan stayed overnight on Saturday night. He was a little freaked out by how quiet Anne's house was, and he wanted to go home. Vipin and Jeremy have made up from their fight. Nope, okay, I'm wrong again. It's in my notes that it's specifically Saturday.
Never mind.
I thought I had this down, but we're gonna go with Saturday.
Are you sure it's not Tuesday?
I'm really not.
It's always Tuesday.
I'm really not. This is going to be so fun to edit.
It's just the heat of the moment. It's okay.
Vipin and Jeremy are going to talk to Olivia, and that's where we meet Joe, Olivia's dad, who was apparently used to be friends with Jeremy. Joe looks at the symbols and is also confused why they aren't talking to Jeremy's contact. I didn't write down her name, but Jeremy has a Wampanoag expert for his book, and Joe's like, well, why didn't you take these to her? And Jeremy was like, these aren't really scholarly. Jeremy tells Joe a little bit about the gathering and the cult, and Anne and Ethan arrive while Jeremy and Vipin are still there. Olivia says that the symbols aren't really Wampanoag, and Anne wants Olivia to find out who made the original Reddit post when the badge was found, and it was Katie Franks. And Jeremy does some shady shit here. Jeremy outs Katie and Officer Batista to Anne and Vipin. I mean, I guess Vipin already knew.
Rude.
Marie specifically said, no, I don't want anyone to know that I'm dating Katie, and Jeremy just outed them to like someone that Katie and Marie both don't really know or trust.
There were several moments during my viewing experience of this podcast that I wanted to strangle Jeremy for being a jerk.
That makes him more interesting.
Jeremy and Anne go out to the woods again and encounter the gathering in Freetown Forest. Jeremy thinks that he hears his father calling for him, and Anne recognizes the leader of the gathering. So then on day 7, Monday, Anne and Jeremy go to Celeste to ask her about being the leader of the gathering. The Bridgewater Triangle is apparently a bright spot that attracts things wanting to get to, quote, the other side.
She's like very chill, and I want to hurt her.
Celeste knows that they've both heard from Thomas, and Anne confirms that she got the message from Thomas 2 days ago, the most recent one, which was Saturday. In episode 6, Jeremy and Anne tell Officer Batista that they saw Celeste on Monday, which is how we know this was Monday, for sure. And then we have an uncertain amount of time that passes. I think the next time that we hear something, I think it's about day 10, and I think it's probably Thursday. Jeremy sleeps in, and then he receives a call from his mother around noon. She does not like Anne. She really hammers at home. She didn't want Jeremy to talk to Anne before. She really does not like Anne now. And I think that that's Thursday because day 11 is Friday. Vipin and Jeremy do some research together. They talk about what they've been doing. It's been about 2 weeks since they started researching Thomas's disappearance, and Jeremy specifically says that it's Friday, and Jeremy is planning on going to talk to Anne and tell the police about the gathering. Daniel is still missing, and receives another voicemail from Thomas. Saturday and Sunday are where all of this shit happens. Everything comes to a head on Saturday and Sunday. Anne and Jeremy go and talk to Officer Batista again. They tell her about seeing the gathering in the woods and going to visit Celeste Corey, and they ask for police files. We found out that Daniel was at some point located in the woods and is mostly fine. Anne shares her most recent voicemail with Jeremy, and Jeremy and Anne visit Daniel and ask him what happened to him. He went back into the forest where the badge was found, thought he saw something or someone there, but found the badge instead, and then started having nightmares about being lost in the woods at night. So we went back during the day and got lost. Now is still having the dreams, saw lights in the woods, heard voices said Iwachu, believes he was abducted by aliens. He's real freaked out and not doing well.
Everything is fine.
That night, Vipin calls from Hockomock Swamp looking for the symbols. He's attacked by something. In episode 7, the doctor says that there's an owl attack, and I lost my mind.
Are you kidding?
If anyone follows true crime, and you know the case, The Staircase, there's a whole theory that an owl committed that murder, not the husband. Owls are also my favorite animals, so owl attacks are a thing that I just can't vibe with. I know it could happen, but
especially in this particular genre.
Yeah.
It's like, we know it wasn't an owl
it definitely
attack,
was not
guys.
An owl attack. Vipin says he also heard Iwachu, which is the same thing that Daniel said he heard, and it sounded like a voice, but not a human voice. Jeremy goes looking in the woods for Vipin. Vipin says that he saw lights like eyes, but like 3 of them in like a triangle. Jeremy is really scared by something he sees, and he tells Vipin not to look at it. And I love the audio quality of this whole story where we're hearing everything, but I really want to know what Jeremy saw. Anne finds them, doesn't see anything that Jeremy was just seeing, so that's fun. And she takes Vipin and Jeremy to the hospital, wants to go back to the swamp, but Jeremy is absolutely terrified. He says he saw a big dog, but it sounds like it was really big. And then it's like during the day on day 13, Jeremy and Anne agree to look after Vipin when he's discharged and leaves the hospital. Jeremy and Anne get into a big argument over what Vipin did or did not see, and Jeremy says that people are getting hurt court now, so he's done and he makes her leave. Olivia and Anne investigate the source of Thomas's emails. Shelley calls.
Messages.
Messages. I don't know why I wrote emails. Emails would be easier to decipher, I imagine.
Yeah.
Shelley calls and says that Ethan's been missing since that morning, and they've been looking for him all day, so it's later in the day. And then we kind of cut to Jeremy and Anne together. They've gotten over their fight temporarily to go looking for Ethan together. It's been 9 hours or so it's like late afternoon, early evening. Jeremy and Anne have a fight about Thomas's disappearance while they're in the woods. Jeremy and Anne come across Katie and Celeste, also looking for Ethan. They see the lights, run after them. They find Ethan. Ethan's then admitted to the hospital, but is more or less okay. Might have been possessed by Thomas Bradshaw. Unclear.
It's fine.
Some of the things he says make me think that Thomas was trying to speak through Ethan, and it didn't go well.
I'm gonna have to listen to those again.
Celeste then predicts that Ethan won't be allowed to leave the hospital that night, which he is not. The police, Anne and Jeremy, want to talk to Ethan. Anne and the police do. Jeremy's left out. Ethan tells Anne that some of the kids got scared the first night, but the second night something happened to him, and he was on top of the ledge, and he woke up there, but Anne and Jeremy found him at the bottom of the ledge near the lake. He also heard inhuman voices. He knows all about this Pukwudgie myth, and says he also saw the lights in the triangle shape.
It's pretty intense.
And then we get into a whole performance that we're not going to cover at this exact minute. But this is when Anne tells Jeremy that Shelley's father's been missing for 40 years and she never planned to be a mother, didn't feel like she could do a good job with Shelley or Olivia, but Ethan's younger, so she's trying with him, and Jeremy puts the pieces together and realizes that Thomas is Shelley's father.
Dun dun dun.
There's a day, Monday happens, I think, and Olivia brings Vipin soup, and the reason I think that there's a day here is because Vipin's at school, like, helping to teach, and so I feel like he needed a day for his concussion, and also I feel like Olivia wouldn't have brought Vipin soup on the day that her brother was missing. I feel like she would have been preoccupied.
A little bit, yeah.
I feel like it would have been like, oh, like the next day when Ethan was fine, that she would have thought, oh, I should bring that kid some soup and see if he's okay.
Yes, that strange child that I get along with.
And then it's day 15, it's Tuesday. Jeremy is teaching. It's a school day. He's teaching about Bigfoot, but he's distracted and Vipin ends up taking over for his classes. News of Ethan's disappearance over the weekend has spread. It's the 4th disappearance that year. It's the 2nd in the last 2 weeks. Everyone's understandably like, something's going on. Jeremy and Vipin then talk about Olivia and Vipin's injuries and the news that Olivia and Jeremy are related to each other. Katie comes by to talk to Jeremy and Vipin, asks Jeremy and Anne to come to Assonet Ledge and protect Celeste. And Jeremy go to meet Celeste, who invited them, and Celeste comes clean that she knows what happened to Thomas, that she kept the badge for 40 years, she wanted to put it at the ledge where it belonged, comes clean about Thomas's fate, and now we're just gonna have a little chat about what happened to Thomas. So again, if you don't want to know what happened to Thomas, this is your absolute last chance to turn this off and go finish listening to Bridgewater.
And if you continue to listen, you did this to yourself.
Yes. So, Celeste was invited to a ceremony to communicate with the dead, ended up with the children of Tituba, not the gathering. The children opened the gate, but they needed a sacrifice to, like, keep it fully open. One of the members was gonna do it, but Celeste realized what was happening and tried to, like, stop them, which was enough of a delay and enough of a commotion that Thomas, who was following the lights, finds them and interrupts them. He tries to stop this person from sacrificing their life and goes over the edge himself. They looked for him and they couldn't find a body. They just found his badge. So Celeste took the badge and they all lied about what happened and said they didn't know anything, but she kept the badge, and the reason that she put it back was so that if she managed to open it again, he would have something to anchor to. And then Celeste opens the portal again with her own sacrifice, and Thomas is left behind in her place. He recognizes both Anne and Jeremy on site, which I didn't think to question at first, but someone was talking about it on the internet somewhere, and I now find that very suspicious.
I mean, it's been a while.
It's been 40 years. Jeremy was 5 years old. There's no way he looks even remotely similar to how he looked as a kid.
I don't know, I thought it was weird too when it first happened. Like, maybe with Anne, like, she probably could look pretty similar.
I mean, Anne was,
she was
like,
an adult.
She's got to be at least in her 70s now.
I know, but like, you could make a stronger argument that he would recognize her.
To recognize Jeremy on sight, it feels a little much, unless he's been able to kind of see them this whole time, in which case I guess I would be okay with that explanation.
Yes, but we need to develop that in the next season.
Yeah, I mean, he has been talking to them, so there is that. On to some notes about things that aren't the timeline, which I think will be more discussion-y.
Awesome.
Jeremy Bradshaw is an interesting character. I think the choice to have Misha Collins portray him was really interesting. Misha was excellent in this role.
Oh yeah.
I am not saying anything about the quality of the acting. Just Misha is really known as this like lovable, wacky, weird guy. That's his thing. Misha wants to be as weird as possible. That's his enjoyment in life. Jeremy Bradshaw is this overly rational, like, academic type. Not that Misha's not smart. Misha is incredibly smart, but Jeremy is very rigid in a way that Misha is not. So I went through and I pulled a few quotes about Jeremy being rational. I don't know if I'll go through all of them here. Some are quotes from Jeremy, some are quotes from other people, but just